Today I'm going to share my thoughts about the Salvage Yard overall. I've had a chance to play it on both the PlayStation, the Xbox. I did a review on the Chop Shop updates, but I want to go into a bit more detail about my opinions regarding this new business in GTA Online. I'll also do a quick walkthrough about everything that comes with the Chop Shop, the prices, the locations, in case you're wondering, as well as what I think Rockstar should do in order to improve the Chop Shop business. As I mentioned in my review, I feel like this business is drawn out a little too long when it comes to the missions themselves, scoping, along with the 3 prep missions. One of them is optional, and then you have the 4 free mode tasks, and one of those is also optional before you get to the robbery. And then once you commit the robbery, then you have to decide whether or not to salvage the vehicle or sell it to Yusuf. I think the best thing to do is sell it to Yusuf and then just use the tow truck to get salvaged vehicles in order to facilitate that other half of the salvage yard business. But we're going to go in and talk about the different locations, things that I think you should buy with the salvage yard, as well as, I guess, upgrades that aren't really worth purchasing, in my honest opinion. All right, so let's dive into the new business, courtesy of the Chop Shop, the Salvage Yard. Most of you know there's 5 locations. The most expensive base price here in La Puerta is $2.6 million, nearly $2.7 million. Strawberry for $2.5 million. My personal favorite, Marietta Heights, for $2.4 million. The other 2 locations are found north up in Blaine County. They're cheaper, but they're further away from most of the action. $2 million for Sandy Shores, and the cheapest location is Polito Bay for $1.6 million. So let's go with my favorite location on PlayStation. I'm just going to keep it for Xbox as well. $2.4 million for Marietta Heights. So this is just cosmetic, and it doesn't matter which color you pick. Besides gray, it's going to cost you $75,000 a pop. So if you're happy with gray, you're going to save yourself $75,000. However, let's just say you want one of these colors. So select a color, $75,000. The trade rates, this is tied into your Moore's Mutual as well as repairing vehicles with Los Santos Customs. If this isn't really an issue for you, if you don't mind paying full price for Moore's Mutual or Los Santos Custom Repairs, then don't bother, because this is pretty pricey, $450,000. I guess in time you might make your money back on this trade rate. But now let's move on to the tow truck. Now, I think this is actually essential for the salvage yard, but there's a difference. You can get the nice brand new looking tow truck for $1.1 million, or you can go with a cheaper beater tow truck for $650,000. I would suggest the beater because it's just a cosmetic difference. That's it. These are basically the same truck, except for this one just looks a little bit nicer than this one. It's a tow truck. It doesn't have to look nice, so this would save you some money right there. The wall safe is completely unnecessary, and you can see it's basically throwing $750,000 away, so I would pass on the wall safe, so I wouldn't get that. And I would probably pass on the trade rates as well. Now, the staff, this is up to you. I mean, if you plan on making this like a business that you want to focus on, which I think you shouldn't, by the way, but let's just say you decide to, for whatever rhyme or reason, it's going to cost you $625,000. I would probably do a hard pass on the staff, and I'll explain why in a minute. So at the moment, if I was to spend $75,000 on the tent, which is really not that much money in GT Online, it's not necessary, just cosmetic. But the tow truck is obviously the one thing you want to purchase along with your salvage yard. So right now, for the location I want, it's going to cost me $3.1 million, which is a lot of money, especially since I only have $9.5 million on my Xbox account. So you get one last chance to decide what you want to add or take off when it comes to the 10th and everything else as well. So we're just going to go with a tent, for cosmetic reasons. and tow truck because I feel like this is an important part of the salvage yard business for $3.1 million. And obviously, anytime you want to go back to upgrade or renovate it, you can. So if you want to go change the color, or if you want to add trade rates later on, or add additional staff, you can do so in the future. So it's not a one and done thing if you ever decide to make some renovations to your salvage yard. Obviously, in order to use this new salvage yard business, you have to register as a boss. I think I'm just going to register as a CEO. I think that's the better way to go in case you happen to have the biker businesses running. You don't want to get raided. I guess I'm tired of being raided. All right, so let's go to this ancient computer from the late 20th century with Windows 95, Windows 98 on it. This brought me back when I saw this the other day during my launch day live stream for this update. So at the moment, there's only 3 vehicles that you have, 3 missions. Rockstar is going to apparently rotate in more, but a lot of people are rightfully complaining that these are not replayable. Once you do the Weevil, the Gauntlet Hellfire, the Imaggio, you have to basically wait till, I guess, next Tuesday or Thursday or whenever for this to update. So it's weekly. And I think that's a major issue if you're not able to actually grind these 3 missions, because there's only 3 right now. And even if, let's just say you could only sell each of these vehicles once a week to Yusuf and future vehicles once a week to Yusuf, at the very least, you should have the ability to salvage these to your heart's content. Like salvage the Weevil, the Hellfire, the Imaggio over and over and over again. Because at least that would benefit your business. But the fact they have this invisible timer in place that prevents you from playing this mode any further once you complete the Weevil, that Gauntlet Hellfire, and the Imaggio till next week when it magically resets according to whenever Rockstar wants it to reset, perhaps with a new mission or 2 rotated in along with, I guess, 2 pre-existing ones. I feel like this is something that Rockstar seriously needs to go back and rework ASAP. Now, when it comes to the tow truck, like I mentioned already, I feel like the tow truck is essential to the salvage yard business. Plus, it's a new RP element that's ported over from GTA 5 Story without Tanya, fortunately. It's similar to taxi work. It's just something you can do on the side in GTA Online for fun if you just want to be a taxi driver, or if you just want to be a tow truck driver. It's cool to have this here. And the difference is the tow truck benefits the salvage yard business. So if you just want to sell the vehicles to Yusuf, then you can just focus on selling the vehicles you eventually acquire, quote unquote, and use the tow truck for strictly salvaging. But going back to the issue we were just talking about a moment ago, yeah, I don't know why Rockstar is limited to just 3, but to make things worse, they make it drawn out as hell because there is a lot of stuff you have to do in order to steal 1 car. And in a game called Grand Theft Auto, it's pretty easy to steal cars in this game. You just go and you find a car, you steal it, you sell it, or sometimes you can keep it. There are a few vehicles you can't do that for, but you go through a lot of trouble for not as much pay as, say, the casino heists or the Cayo Perico heist, despite some nerfs that have been added to the Cayo Perico heist. There's better ways to make money in Grand Theft Auto Online than with the salvage yards, but for people that enjoy doing the salvage yard, I think that replay is important to almost any mode. And that's why you're able to replay the heists or the casino heists or Doomsday or the Cayo Perico heists. Or going all the way back to contact missions. Yeah, they disabled replay so you couldn't grind Rooftop Rumble over and over again, which I think is silly. But players should have the ability to grind and replay to their heart's content, including the Salvage Yard Robberies. My other issue with the Salvage Yard Robberies is with the free mode tasks, because you have 4 of them total. 1 of them is optional, but you have to do them individually, one at a time. I talked about this in the review, but I think that another way Rockstar can improve the salvage work is by allowing players to collect all of the tasks at the same time. Just go and collect all 4 tasks in free mode and then bring them all back to the salvage yard instead of doing it individually, one at a time, because it's very, very time consuming, and it would shorten the amount of time that it would take to get from the beginning with scoping to the 2 or 3 prep jobs, and then doing all the tasks in free mode, as well as the robbery finale. So I think that would be better to shorten down the salvage yard missions a little bit, and they could do that easily by just making it to where you could collect all 3 or 4 free mode tasks and objects at the same time without having to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. There's definitely a lot of copy pasta when it comes to the salvage yard work. You see it compared to the auto shop, for example, various other businesses. It's obvious that they're copy pasting heist elements into the salvage yard robbery, but the heists are way better. You have way more options when it comes to approaches. Meanwhile, when it comes to the salvage yard robberies, you have to do it exactly the same way every single time. That's bad enough, but at the very least, Rockstar should allow us to replay these robberies over and over and over again. Yeah, it's repetitive. Yeah, it can be boring, but there's a lot of players that enjoy doing that. And the fact that you end up shelling out easily $2-3+ million, depending on which location you buy and all the upgrades you put into your salvage yard, players want to be able to make back their money as quickly as possible and start profiting off the salvage yard business. And I think that's another reason why there should be replay to these missions. Maybe what you should do instead, Rockstar, from cutting us off completely after we do all 3 of the currently selected salvage yard robberies, is allow them to reset once we complete the 3rd one and have the ones that we already did locked. So, for example, let's just say I've done 2 out of 3, right? I've done 2 out of 3 of the robberies, and I will not be able to do the other 2 again until I complete the 3rd robbery that's on my ancient 1990s PC. Once I do that, then it unlocks and I'm able to start over again. So I could see the logic in that. But what I don't really get is forcing us to wait several days or a week before we actually get the opportunity to go and do these robberies again, because players are going to be sitting around waiting patiently for Rockstar at a time of their choosing, whether it's on Thursday or Tuesday, before we're able to go back in and do 3 more salvage yard robberies. And then the same thing is going to happen again and again. So absolutely, I think that Rockstar needs to go back into the salvage yard and rework it a bit, shorten the amount of time it takes to complete a salvage yard with what I was talking about a moment ago, the tasks, and also just make it to where we can replay it. The good news is there's plenty of other things to do in GTA Online besides the salvage work, but it is the new thing, even if it does at times feel very similar to previous things that have been added in past updates. But since it's the new job, the new property, the new business, that's what a lot of players want to focus on right now, because they've done the bunker business, they've done the office sales and the biker sales and all the heists over and over and over again, and they just want to do something quote-unquote new, or at least new-ish. Fact is, the salvage yard business is definitely never going to be the best money-making business in GTA Online, but I am a big believer that there could be some improvements to it, such as replayability and ways to shorten the amount of time to complete one of the salvage yard robberies. The other issue I have with this particular business is the challenges themselves. Well, the career progress exclusively for PlayStation, Xbox Series players. And this is something other people have brought up, so I'm not the only one bringing up these issues, but it's good that more creators are doing so. So when you go into business, you now have the Chop Shop added to all the other businesses in the career progress for PlayStation 5, Xbox players for the Xbox Series S and X. And so what you have here is you have Tier 1, which is pretty easy to accomplish. Then you have Tier 2, sell a vehicle, salvage a vehicle. So you got to do both. Earn $250,000 from salvaging vehicles. Tier 3, a little bit more challenging. Ultimately, you get, Yusuf's outfit. But then this one is going to take a while, especially with the way they have the Chop Shop set up, where you can't exactly replay these robberies over and over again. So expect this to go on for, 2 or 3 months before you're able to unlock Tier 4. And the reward is pretty pathetic. A gold buzzard attack helicopter? Are you kidding, Rockstar? I could take my own buzzard attack helicopter and put a copy of it in my hangar and paint it gold. It's a pathetic reward, especially for Tier 4 in the Chop Shop. What about giving us the ability to use the Liberty City plate or the Las Venturas plate in Los Santos Customs for our vehicles? I think that would be a much better reward. Tier 4 for the Chop Shop for the career progress. It would be one thing if it was a unique buzzard similar to Yusuf's GTA 4 Baldigay Tony buzzard, and it had some improvements like countermeasures, maybe more armor, and it was just more badass like the buzzards in GTA 4, specifically Baldigay Tony. But it's the same buzzard we've had since the launch of GTA Online back in 2013. It just has a gold paint job, which once again, you can already do if you put it in your hangar and give it a gold paint job. In conclusion, I don't think that the Salvage Yard is a bad business. It's far from the best. There's definitely some copy pasta elements to it. And I don't like how long the robberies are drawn out. I don't like the fact that after you do the 3 robberies, you have to wait a few days or a week for Rockstar to reset it for you when it should be replayable. Bottom line is, who cares if people want to replay the 3 Salvage Yard missions over and over again? We've replayed the heist missions over and over again, as well as contact missions over and over again. And since it's the new business in the game, players should be able to do that without this time limit, without this limitation on a weekly basis by Rockstar. I hope that they go back and change that, because a lot of players are not happy about the current system, and it needs to be fixed. It needs to be improved. And not only that, like I said, regarding the robberies themselves. Even if Rockstar does ultimately listen to the feedback from the community regarding the Salvage Yard, the issues that we're having with it, it's going to probably take them a quick minute to make positive changes to it, at least 6+ months from now. Maybe improvements will be made over the next few weeks as Rockstar adds more robberies to the Salvage Yard. The good news is there is obviously other things to do in the game while you wait for improvements to be made to the Salvage Yard Robbery. So I guess do the robberies, and then once you're maxed out for the week, then just go and do something else, whether it's one of your businesses, casino heists, OG heists, Cayo Perico heists, or just go play a completely different game and come back when Rockstar decides to update the Salvage Yard Robberies and allow us to do them again, until we have to wait yet another week for yet another weekly reset.